All right, so today we're going to be looking at activity 27, looking at equations of circles. So the equation for a circle that is centered at the origin is given by x squared plus y squared equals r squared, where r is the radius of the circle. So remember, the origin is 0, 0. So if it has the center at 0, 0, your equation is simply going to be x squared plus y squared equals r squared. If it is not centered at the origin, if it's centered at some point hk, then the equation is given by x minus h squared plus y minus k squared equals r squared. So if you have it at the origin, you can still use this equation where your h and your k would be 0. X minus 0 is just x, and so it comes back to this first one. So let's look here. For number 1, x squared plus y squared equals 9. First off, we need to locate the center. There is not a number with the x or the y, so that means that our center is at the origin. So it is at 0, 0. Then we need to look at the radius. The 9 is r squared. So r squared equals 9. So to find your r, you're going to take the square root. So r is going to be 3. So to graph it, you're going to go on your graph and put a dot at the center. So we're going to put a dot at 0, 0 at the origin. And then you're going to go left and right 3 and up and down 3. And then you're going to draw a beautiful little circle like such. It's not going to be perfect. It might look like an Easter egg. It might look like a football. Just don't make it a square or a diamond. Make it somewhat circular at least. So now looking at number 2. X minus 3 squared plus y plus 1 squared equals 16. So the first thing we need to do is to locate the center. So we have x minus 3. Our formula is x minus h. So we have x minus h, x minus 3. Our h is a 3. If you are looking at these, the negative h and negative k, it's always going to be x minus h and k, y minus k. So x minus 3, if you're having trouble seeing that the h is a 3, whatever number you have in your parentheses, you're just going to negate that. So negative 3 is going to become a positive 3. Over here, the y, it's going to become a negative 1. So our center is going to be 3, negative 1. Then our r squared is 16. So that means that our r is 4. So now we go graph this. So we're going to go to 3, negative 1. And then you're going to go left and right 4, up and down 4. And so there are your dots. And then from there, you're just going to graph your circle. So there's your circle. On these, if you're given a graph, your circle should fit on the graph that you're given. It shouldn't go off the graph. If it does, you've probably made a mistake. So now let's look at number 3. On this one, they give us the graph, and we want to find the equation. So to find the equation, we need the center and the radius. What you want to start by doing is drawing a horizontal and a vertical line that go through the center of the circle. And so it should be here for the vertical line, the horizontal line, and then here for the vertical line. And they intersect here. And it should create 4 equal parts to your circle. And so it should be at negative 2, 3 for the center. And then your radius, you're just going to count 1, 2, 3, 4 to the edge. So your radius is 4. And you could go left, right, up, or down. It should be the same for all of them. If it's not the same, then that means you didn't find the correct center. So now we write our equation. So we're going to say x minus negative 2. But minus negative 2 is plus 2. So if you want to write it, x plus 2 squared plus y minus 3 squared equals, now you can write your radius squared as radius squared, 4 squared, or you can say as 16. Normally we do square our numbers when we're writing our answers. However, with the circles, it is acceptable to write it as r squared and to leave it as that number squared and not actually find what the square is. So that's up to you. Whichever you prefer is fine. On number 4, they don't give us a graph, but they tell us the center and the radius. So we're just going to apply our formula. So you take a second and see, can you write the equation correctly? So you're going to say x minus a negative 13, so that's going to be x plus 13 squared, plus y minus 7 squared, and then equals either 4 squared or 16. That's up to you which one you pick. So now let's look at number 5. They give us the center and they give us a point on the circle. So I'm going to do a rough sketch of this graph. So 1, -5, we'll say it's here maybe. It's not at all to scale. And then -4, -17. So they told us the center and they told us the point on the graph. So we know we have the center, but what is the radius? That's what we're looking for. How am I going to find the radius? We know going from the center to the edge of the circle is the radius. So how am I going to find that distance? Using the distance formula. So refresher on your distance formula. x2 minus x1 squared plus y2 minus y1 squared, and then you take the square root of that whole expression. Does it matter which one is your x2 and your x1? No. Same thing with your y2 and your y1. You just gotta make sure you use your x's, 1 and -4. So 1 minus -4 squared plus -5 minus -17 squared. And so I have the square root of 5 squared plus 12 squared, which is 25 plus 144, which is the square root of 169, which is 13. And so that 13 is our radius. And so now we have the radius and the center. So when we go to write our equation, x minus 1 squared plus y minus a -5 is going to be plus 5 squared equals our r squared, which is 13 squared, or 169. So either one of those would work for your equation. You don't have to put both the 13 squared and the 169. You pick which one you prefer. Okay, so that's how you would do it if they give you a point on the circle. Looking at number 6, they give you the ends of a diameter. So again, I'm going to do a rough sketch of this. So they give us -2, 2, and -10, 8. And those are the endpoints of our diameter. So we need to find both the center and the radius on this one. So what do we know about the ends of a diameter? Well, the diameter goes through the circle. Can I find the distance of the diameter here? Absolutely. So again, use your distance formula and find the distance between those 2 points that they gave you. So -2 minus -10 squared plus 2 minus 8 squared. So I have 8 squared plus -6 squared, which is 64 plus 36, which is 100. So the square root of 100 is 10. Now what is this 10? That's going from one side of the circle to the other side of the circle, the diameter. So if the diameter is 10, that means that my radius, half of 10, must be 5. So we're going to be using that information. But that doesn't give me my center. I know that the center of the circle is about right here, and this distance is 5, and this distance is 5. But how do I find my actual center? I need to know what is halfway between these 2 points that they gave me. And so I need to use my midpoint formula. So if you look, your midpoint formula is going to be x1 plus x2 over 2, y1 plus y2 over 2. So our x's are -2 and -10. So -2 plus -10. And our y's are 2 plus 8 over 2. So -2 plus -10 is -12 over 2, and 2 plus 8 is 10 over 2. And so if you divide those, you get -6 and 5. And this is your center. Now we can write our equation. So we're going to say x minus -6, so x plus 6 squared, plus y minus 5 squared equals either 5 squared or 25. So that would be your equation there. So if they give you the ends of the diameter, you're going to use both the distance and the midpoint formula to find your radius and your center. So hopefully that helps you with understanding how you can use your equations of circles here. That gives you just a breakdown of each of the types of questions that we're going to look at in class.